Helen Ziller, for sure. Afrikaans people are more feisty than American people. I've heard honey badgers can rip your off, so I'll go with the honey badger.
Julius.
I would say honey badger. Honey badgers don't give
I think Juju would take it. Absolutely fearless. I think Juju does his thing in the mud. I mean, he goes where no one else will go. So yeah, so he would jump in there and do what needs to be done.
Freaking starving like Marvin, dude. When can we start this, braai?
I know, I'm so hungry. I'd even appreciate some of Justin's very dry
Broodjies.
broodjies.
Huh?
Broodjies. It's like eating a cigarette. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Everybody said that they were going to be here by now. Nobody's pitched up. I don't know.
Who's supposed to come here?
Clint.
Clint moved to Dubai.
What? When?
Yes. Like the other day, dude.
No ways.
And Sean, is he coming?
No, he's gone to the States. He's bought a business there. A pool cleaning business.
So who the freak is bringing meat, dude? Does that mean we're not going to have a braai today?
I suppose, yeah. We're just going to drink. We're just going to drink.
Everybody's left.
Everybody's gone.
In today's episode, we will discuss South Africa's greatest export, its people.
Yeah. I mean, every second person you speak to or you see on Facebook having an immigration sale, emigrating, lots of people going to Cape Town. That's definitely not in the same country as Johannesburg. Cape Townians, it's Cape Town. That's it.
Yeah, you can
The
see how
whole
sad I
of-
am about all of this.
You went overseas for a little bit after you finished studying.
Oh, you mean for like a holiday? Not because I'm sick of here, I'm leaving.
Yeah, but you did go overseas to experience
Another place,
another place. Yeah.
Unwillingly. I didn't want to go. I was about 17 and my father used the words, "There's more to life than being colored, sonny." And yeah. It was a Kontiki tour, and a Kontiki tour, for those that don't know, it's flippin' cool, I must say. It's
So this is actually before you studied. This is when you finished school.
I just finished matric. My cousin wanted to go.
Okay.
Because she wants to travel the world. I had no desire within my body to leave my area.
You were like,
I just
I'm
wanted
busy
to
loitering.
stay, live and die there. Yes.
I
That's
don't
all
have
I
time
wanted
to do other things.
Yeah, this is rubbish. We had to raise funds to go there, so it took like a year. I think she gave the desire to go over maybe a year before, and then she convinced my father. My father said, yeah, it would be good for me, and then we had to raise the money, do car washes, curry evenings. I don't think we even managed to raise enough money. My father still had to go and get a loan for that, and then sent us over. First time I was ever on a plane, so that was the experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
First,
Yes.
to London.
Okay.
And the
England.
sun set at like
3.
3, yeah. 3 in the afternoon. That was like, what day? This is
Yes.
different. And that probably was the first like, yes, there's more to
Well, you
life
didn't
than
even
being
know-
colored. This is different here.
You didn't even
Freaking
know
different.
there was a sun.
I didn't
actually.
even know it could get that cold, dude.
When? Oh, so you would have gone
I went
in December.
In December, and
Yeah.
it was freaking cold.
Yes. Like the high is 3.
Yeah, and you land at like Heathrow, and you're jumping on a plane. I mean, like on the subway
yeah.
thing, and people are cuck. Like that's the first thing. Like it's freaking cold here, it's dark, and people are cuck. Nobody, because you greet. You walk into a place, you greet, right?
Yes, you're South African. You're a good South African, yeah.
Just
Nothing.
stare at you like,
Yeah,
why
they're
are you
like, why?
speaking to me,
Yes.
and like
Why are you
angry.
nice?
Like this guy greeted. So that was the first thing I got, and it was like immediately this is different, right? So yes, I was explaining the Kontiki tour. Kontiki tour is for people that's under 35. You get to go on tour, and it's like you spend short periods of time in different areas. So in the European one, it was a 30-day tour. So you go all around Europe. From the UK, you go over on a ferry to France, to the Netherlands, and then from the Netherlands into Belgium, we went to Liechtenstein, then France, Germany, Italy, but then you go through the cities like Florence down, all the way Milan, Rome, and then come back. We went to Nice, we went to Paris, Germany, I think we were in Munich, and
Berlin.
I don't know if we went to Berlin. But yeah, you just travel, and you're like 2 days in each city. You party hard at night, you sightsee during the day. It's almost like everything's paid for in the package, except for certain things. So food and drinks is all encompassed for 17-year-old that side. Free beer, no parents,
And you were just with South
and I went to
Africans,
Monaco
or
as
was
well.
it a group of teens from all over?
No, so it's
Well, under
not
35.
teens, they're under 35.
Yeah.
So half of them were a bunch of Australians, I think like ex-veterans, or they were just in the army or something.
Okay.
And they did their training, so they're crazy, like just...
With their mullets.
Yeah, crazy guys. And there were some Europeans there. And then I would say at least a quarter of them were South Africans. Yeah, so it was an experience. But when I got back on a New Year's Day. And it just seemed like the sky was bluer, the clouds were fluffier, the people were friendlier, the grass was greener. Literally, the grass is greener. And just from a touchdown perspective on a plane, getting into the car, driving versus getting into London, I didn't have to know about the politics in that land. I didn't have to know about the crime stats, nothing. The welcome I got there, from the cold, the dark, and the unfriendly people, to the bright, fluffy, sunny, warm smiles, that was all I needed to know that South Africa was the place to be.
I'm in between two countries, so I haven't actually immigrated. I mean, I love being South African. It's really difficult, I think, to integrate in a different culture.
I'm an immigrant.
Immigrated? No, I have not. I think any South African can say that it's tough living in this country, but so all the time we want to immigrate, but I still love this country, so I'll stay, of course.
Why do you think so many people are leaving? I mean, there's obvious things, but why do you think people are leaving?
A safer environment. I think that's the biggest problem, is the safety aspect.
Is the crime aspect.
It's crime.
Okay.
It's probably the biggest driver for immigration. Yeah. And crime, I guess corruption can fall under crime as well. It's crime and corruption. That's the biggest aspect.
Economical, I think it's the political climate at the moment. It's not favorable.
There's load shedding, there's the cost of living is high, inflation.
Job opportunities, actually we recently did a little bit of research on this. Usually it's job opportunities, but specifically people that have kids. They were very, very worried about the future potential prospects for their kids.
It's about 60%, 60 to 70% of people were migrating because of family reasons, just because they've had kids and then they want to. Maybe 20 because of just job opportunities. So that same 60%, the biggest thing was always the economy and the political situation of South Africa, and what the future for their children actually look like.
Can you guess how many people have left in the last 5 years? How many people have immigrated?
People that have left, I'd say, I'm trying to look at immigration, so probably about 2 million people.
Yo.
Yes.
No.
Okay. I think I say 2 million for everything. All my guesses are 2 million.
No, definitely not 2 million.
42.
Just 42.
Yes, that's the answer.
Just 42.
42,000.
You're wrong. 1 million. 1 million people
Have left.
have left the country
Since when?
since 2015. So that's 8 years.
Last 8 years.
Yes.
Over 1 million people.
Yeah.
Shit. Now, that's expected.
There are actually a lot of people coming back as
That's very shocking.
well.
I
Why?
would have not expected that.
A lot of people have returned. I actually sent out a message on Facebook to say, if you've immigrated and returned, because a lot of people have said, I've just come back to South Africa looking for a place to stay, or looking for a job, or... So it's quite
So it's
incredible.
like they never left.
Yeah, still looking for a job.
And a place to stay.
Yeah.
Why did they leave?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are like, cool, the grass is going to be greener on the other side.
But it's gone.
And it's cut.
We learned quickly that the grass is not green on the other side. We have some battles, but our country is beautiful and there is potential and everyone's here.
People return because there's a level of diversity and also very frank conversation in South Africa. I mean, there's some things that we don't necessarily discuss straight ahead, but I think we're probably far ahead than most cultures in terms of actually discussing and being very upfront to the things that we do right, so we do wrong. Some of the stuff we can actually just be hard on ourselves.
So, sent out the message on Facebook. Some people have contacted me in the interim. They've said they've left, they've come back, they will never leave the country again. Left a few times, come back, will never leave the country.
They've left a few times?
Yeah.
Like for holiday or like
No,
going to Australia?
like something bad happened here.
And then they left.
And then they left and they were like, no, there's no place like home. And one of the things that this lady was saying, she was just saying that South Africans are so honest.
We have a way of not mincing words, being completely clear and honest, speaking the truth, but doing that with the utmost kindness possible and with love. We're not afraid of having difficult conversations, and I think we got that from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It was a matter of life and death, so there's that. We have an unparalleled love for our country, and you know what? I'm not going to talk too much on that because all you have to do is listen to a couple of rugby anthems, and you can just hear it. And anybody who can't, I don't know. Obviously, we speak about it a lot, but our resilience in the face of everything. I mean, how many governments must one generation overthrow? We overthrew apartheid. Then we overthrew Zuma. Now we're looking at Cyril and all of that. And yeah, we're exhausted, but we don't give up, even with a falling rand. My husband, who's American, says that one of the things he experiences about South Africa, he grew up in Florida around a lot of tourists, he's met people from all over the world, and he says one of the things he respects about South Africans is that we don't sugarcoat our country. We're completely honest, and we now assume that the rest of the world is as honest about their problems as we are. When he was getting ready to move here to South Africa, and he spoke to all my friends, none of us said, hey, you're going to have a great country. We said to him, listen, you're going to have crime, you're going to have load shedding, we have a rape problem, we have this, but other than that, hey, you're going to braai, you're going to have biltong, you're going to have rusks. He says we're the first country he's met that'll actually not sugarcoat, not give you not sell you their country. They'll tell you like it is. And he said when he landed, he knew exactly what to expect. All the positive things we said, it's beautiful, it's great, it's wonderful, he experienced. All the negative things he knows are true, right? And so that feeds into what I'm saying about the sexual assault thing. We are not the only country in the world with a rape problem. We're the only country who gives the proper details on that, okay? Bilkis Bano comes to mind in India. The issue with the English girl that was raped in my fatherland, Greece, by those Israeli boys comes to mind. Okay, the issue with that Irish girl that was raped and she had her underwear, she was told because she's wearing a thong, she must have wanted it, comes to mind. South Africa doesn't sugarcoat. So I'm not ready or willing to believe the world when they say that we have a bigger problem than the rest of them do. Because when you actually live there, they all tell you the same thing: stay inside. Even in the safe countries, they say stay inside, you might get raped as a woman.
We're so honest about our country. We're like, load shedding's a thing.
Yeah.
Crime is a thing. Like, I drove into a massive pothole, couldn't find my car. It's shit. So nobody sugarcoats it. When people come here, they know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah.
But there's just so much incredible stuff to enjoy as well. And she said that's the thing. Like, a lot of other guys from other countries don't go like, oh, this is crap, NHS is shit.
They don't even take the time to talk to you.
Dentists don't exist. Stuff like that. So I think that's really cool that we give like a balanced view, and also just how friendly we are. I think that's what I love. You land home. People haven't spoken to you for like 3 weeks. You've only chatted to the people you've been traveling with. You smiled at a few people, got their stares. Nobody helps you lug your luggage around. Get back and everybody's singing or smiling or welcoming you. It's just awesome.
A smile goes a long way.
Yeah.
Such a long way, man.
You wanted to leave the country. So when you left Ozo, there was a point where you could leave. And I think a lot of it, like we've spoken about, a lot of it stems back to safety, especially if you've got a wife and you've got kids. I know I've had a few incidents in my life which have sat with me. So, like, you know, stuff sits with you. We worked with someone who was kidnapped at the beginning of this year. I mean, that was crazy. He was kidnapped and held for ransom.
Who's the? Oh, snap.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god! And that's how we just
Yeah.
how
We just
desensitized
like,
we are,
who
right?
was it again?
We're just so desensitized
Yeah.
to these things. But yeah,
Exactly. I mean, it's a very real thing.
yeah.
So, why did you decide to stay when you could have gone?
I was gonna buy citizenship in a place called Montenegro.
Yes, in a ski resort.
A ski resort. You invest in a ski resort. It's a largish sum of money that you put in there, but then you own a portion in a ski resort.
Yeah.
And that then turns money, well, there's income that comes through that, and so you're making some money through it. So it's an investment more than just like buying stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it was appealing to me. You get citizenship immediately. There's no questions asked about it. It's
Yeah.
like you bought in here, boom, high five, here's
Yes.
your card. We fly over once, we do our fingerprints, they have like a digital system, they issue a ID card to you, and now you are Montenegrin. You're a Montenegrin citizen. They have like 800,000 citizens, and again, a lot of the population is old,
Yes.
right? And that used to be old, what's that area called? Yugoslavia?
Yeah, it
Bosnia?
was a Soviet, part of the Soviet Union. Yeah.
So they also a EU candidate. So the EU exists, and if they're a candidate, they already score off the benefits of EU candidate, but not fully. So you can travel in the Schengen visa, on a Schengen visa aspect freely in all those areas, but only in 2025 do they get brought into the EU fully. And CIB, which is citizenship by, no, CBI, citizenship by investment, is illegal from an EU perspective. So that program was ending last year.
Yeah.
So I had to get in at a certain point, and then it's over. Like right now, you can get residency in Portugal, Greece, all of those places, but not citizenship. And citizenship comes with very different rights.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So basically, yeah, I would have gotten the citizenship, and then 2025, I'm a proper EU citizen, fully in there. If anything bad happens here, this is my first thing. Anything bad happens here, the Serbian embassy, I could go there and then they take me out of the country.
Okay.
Yeah, then they would come fetch me and take me out. I would get into this place, and then my kids could study for free anyway in Europe, medical, all of that. That's what I'm thinking at this point in time. Then I start digging further into Montenegro to understand what it's about there, and I'm thinking, because I don't have to live there. This is the one big appealing thing for me. I get the second citizenship, but I don't have to move, because I still like South Africa, but I want the plan B. But how would it be for me to live there? What's the language difference, all of that? So they kind of speak like a Russian version, but they actually speak Montenegrin. Then I find out the country split into 3 parts.
What?
Montenegrin, Serbian, and I think Ukrainian.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and now these guys are all fighting with each other. I'm like, these are all white guys.
And all old.
Why are we fighting?
Yeah.
Your language kind of sounds the same as all white. Why he's like, he's a European guys. Like, dude, there's no racial tension. But there's this discrete tension, like, I'm Ukrainian, I'm Montenegrin, I'm Serbian. And so there's this constant battle between power. And if I look at the history of how politically it's quite unstable, because they constantly trying to change the president all the time. And at that point in time, it was in Montenegrin rule and control, which is why they still EU candidates, because there's certain things they need to change in order, policy-wise, in order to get into the EU. And I was like, how much does this remind me of home, actually? All this fighting, this battle. That's the stuff you don't know about until you get there, right? Luckily, and because like a year later, Russia has this battle with Ukraine, which is right next door, and now these guys are also in the mix. That's the reason why I didn't go.
A friend of mine who has been in Australia now for over 20 years, and his family, they were in and out of the country since the 60s. They've always had ties to Australia, so it wasn't like, we're moving, we're leaving because this place sucks. They were always in and out. And he eventually landed up staying there. And he said, he chats to guys that have come from South Africa to Australia, and they're so ready to throw South Africa under the bus, but they don't ever applaud how good the education system is here, how good the health system is.
Private education system. I don't know about public.
A lot of public schools are excellent.
There are good public schools.
Yes,
You're right.
absolutely. Even, do you know how many people train in our hospitals here?
Just Cubans. Or we go to Cuba.
No, we go to Cuba to train them. No, just like we have a lot of good stuff here. The fact that you've got sunlight 90% of the year, the amount of space, yes, it's just so we're all so ready to forget about all the cool things and all the opportunities that we've been given, and with the small businesses that we chat to as well. Like, if you were born in America, would you have come up with this idea?
No.
Our culture, our dance, our songs, our creativity, our diversity. Yeah.
I'm proud of our inventions. There are bookloads of those. The first heart transplant. I can't remember the name of this thing, but it's like a Zulu toy that turned into the thing for the harbors. So there's that. I'm proud to be the birthplace of Charlize and Elon, no matter what people say, as well as Trevor Noah, Madiba, Desmond Tutu, and even the language of Wakanda. And I'm proud that Joburg was also the home of Gandhi, where he first embodied satyagraha, and the birthplace of J.R.R. Tolkien. So those are just some of the things I'm proud of.
You have the privilege and the comfort and whatever. So don't ever forget that. Like,
there's a company in Europe. This is the most innovative thing they've come up with there. The bottle smells. That's what they do. The bottle smells, and they sell that.
Yeah, well.
And as my father would say, they come up with frivolous stuff, Sonny. It's all frivolous stuff. Or frivolous. Frivolous stuff, Sonny. It's a gimmick. It's gimmicky things.
Okay, the last thing. So a lot of guys and girls want to list their companies in different countries. So they want to
IPO elsewhere.
They want to IPO elsewhere, or they even want to just move IP over. So for the guys that are watching this, that are setting up businesses, what is your advice to them?
Africa is prime for investment right now. But nobody wants to invest in South Africa directly. They'll invest anywhere else but South Africa.
Because of the political...
Well, it's what the media's feed into them on the outside.
Yeah.
And then it's created that sentiment. I'm like, there's no more stable, more regulated, policy-abiding country in South Africa. In Africa.
Yeah.
Besides South Africa.
Absolutely, yeah.
We are the forefront of a lot of the legislation and rules going on here. But the media sentiment on it has been created to be so negative that the outside world's like, this place is a crap hole. Why would they ever want to come here? Why would they ever want to do these things?
But this goes back to the startups here sharing the same sentiment, going, it's a crap hole.
I want to go out. Yes.
And I'm going to take this solution that I've actually developed because of a problem I've seen here.
And take the IP out.
And take the IP out.
In order to get foreign money to come in there.
So I see oftentimes more, and I think there's a lot of people who still do a little bit of the best of both. And I've just been fortunate to be able to do that. If I can persist and do that, I would retain that, because it really gives a lot of value as well for myself. South Africa is a growth economy, another's more stable and like wealth preservation. So even if I was looking at it from a portfolio point of view, it's great to have exposure to both.
So here's my opinion, not my advice. My opinion is, I'm going to take you to a house, firstly. I look at Sandton, and I sometimes envy those people. I'm like, how can you afford this house, blah, 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 because it's way too expensive. And people have inherited that house, or their
Yes.
parents bought it for 70 grand back in the day. It was still a farm back then
With
and all of that.
beans.
Now, the area where I live, and I live through this time, and I think I've mentioned it in the previous podcast, or one of our previous podcasts, where it was just land at one point. Now, it's just a hub of development happening. And I've always been like that. I've always bought fixer-upper houses. I've always been like, buy the ugliest, most messed up house in the most expensive street type thing. And for me, this was that. Like, you buy this house and people are like, why are you doing this? You're spending so much money to get here. You can buy that type of house, just add a bit more in that area. I'm like, no, I work and I build on things. I look towards the future and investment. And now all I see is development happening, and it's a few years later and people are like, how did you get in here? It's too expensive to get there now. Like, well,
I was looking somewhere
saw
where
it.
nobody else was
You have to
looking.
have that foresight, and I feel a lot of these guys only they worry about the now. This is my situation. We actually had this conversation yesterday with one of the companies about don't let your current situation cloud your decision making on your company.
Yes.
Make your company decision making with a clear head, and keep your personal situation out of that. Because you're always going to be chasing money and the flashy check in front of you. And this is what these guys are doing. They're flashing their checks around. And for now, the money is great there.
Yeah.
But like I've already said, and I could be the oracle in this, but there's going to be the shift. And all of a sudden, you have the flashy check, but you're on the wrong side now. So you've already been stooped. I'm looking at the JSE, a lot of companies are delisting from that, but maybe this is then your time to shine, to come in there. Rather list locally. Work on this. It takes time. So at the end of the day, it's just have more foresight on everything, on your own life, on your business, on the country. Don't exclude yourself from things. Like, you're not part of this problem. You're not part of the problem, but you can be part of the solution. And yes, you are one person, but one person inspires a lot more.
Yeah.
So have more freaking foresight than just wanting to go offshore.
Yeah, and also just to close that, I think everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. So a lot of these guys see, oh no, we're moving our IP offshore, we're listing offshore, we're raising, or we're doing this.
Yeah.
Why? Do what's right for you. Do what's right for your business. Do what's right at the right time. Don't always look to see what everybody else is doing. And it's the same with immigration. My cousin Carol went. She left.
Yeah.
She's the greatest thing she's ever done.
If you moved overseas, would you tell people it's cock there?
No.
Like, you wouldn't move there and be like, I
wouldn't.
made a bad decision.
Yeah,
No.
this is horrible.
You're going to try and, it's so great here. We get to go on the bus. And
I don't have to look over my shoulder.
I don't have, and there's a zoo. And
Tell people to subscribe to your AI.
to my AI. Oh, I'm not here. This is an AI interpretation of myself. We just chop up lots of stuff that I say every day.
Repeatedly.
Just kick out my face. There's actually a green screen behind us. This braai isn't real. And everybody still lives in South Africa. Hit the subscribe button, else you don't love South Africa.
Oh.
Oh.